sir.
All right, we will call the meeting to order. Jen, you want to take roll, please?
Commissioner Corbin.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Waldner. Commissioner Thill.
Here.
Mayor Lindsay.
Here. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Seeing no appearances, is there anything that anyone would want to remove from the consent calendar?
Motion to approve consent calendar.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Seeing no old business, under new business. Acknowledge the application for a temporary alcohol license and set a date of hearing for the DSU Foundation. Jen, do you have anything to add to that?
Nope, other than it's for the DSU Gala, which will be held on April 30th at the Dakota Prairie Playhouse. Acknowledge this evening, set a date of hearing for Monday, March 21st at 5:35.
Need a motion on that?
Please.
We do.
I move to acknowledge the application for temporary license and set date of hearing for the DSU Foundation at 5:35 on, what's that?
March 21st.
March 21st, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Acknowledge the application for the temporary alcohol license and set a date of hearing for the Madison Fire Department.
Same
Jen, do
date
you
of
have
hearing.
anything to add to that one?
Same date hearing.
Same date of hearing, same time, because the
But
notice simply
April
says
9th.
or as soon thereafter as possible. Annual Fireman's Dance scheduled for April 9th at the Madison City Armory.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge application for temporary alcohol license and set a date of hearing for March 21st at 5:35 for the Madison Fire Department.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Acknowledge a petition for the vacation of the alley and set a date of hearing for Kennedy's Extension Town Proprietors First Edition. And Chad, I'm going to ask you if you'd like to address that.
Yes, I can say a few words. Thank you. This is a petition to vacate an alley north of what's would commonly be referred to as the Methodist Church parking lot. The city doesn't have any local rules or regulations on the vacation process, so what is submitted is just what is required and outlined by state statute. The parties submit this petition, and then they will have a course of action following this, and Jen will elaborate on it, I'm sure, after this, which will follow up by a hearing, and then at that time, the commission will decide if they want to proceed with the vacation. So this is just notice of the hearing and then set the date, or notice of the petition and set the date, right, Jen?
Correct.
And just for clarification in that, it is that alley that goes halfway through to the east, past the Salmon House and is it Mullen?
Yeah.
Mullen House.
To the
So-
south side of those houses, right?
Yeah.
Yes, south side of those houses, right beside the houses.
It's that little T alley there.
What happens when we vacate, what happens to that piece of property? The Methodist gonna take care of it, or?
In this case, it would revert to 100% to the south side of the road, because that's how the original subdivision was platted. It was taken out of that subdivision originally, that alley, so it all reverts back. And if it's a split between, or within a subdivision, I should say, it would revert to each property on half and half on each side, but in this case, it goes all to the south.
So it reverts to the south in its entirety.
Correct.
Okay.
What's this gonna do, Chad, on the driveway? They gonna lose one of them driveways going out of the Methodist Church parking lot? Is that gonna be classified as one driveway that they could use, or are they gonna put new ones in, or what?
Are you talking about on the state project?
Yeah,
Just going from memory, I believe there is an alley that goes
Yeah.
north and south. That one will stay. and I believe the state was not gonna let them have another one, but the state's working that out with them, and the folks from the church have been in direct contact with the state about their processes for this, so.
And they have discussed putting in an exit to the east onto, isn't that onto Hearth?
Yeah.
The one entrance and two exits
Okay.
onto Hart.
So that is in discussion.
Yeah. I think there's just gonna be one access from the south, from the state highway, which is at the same location that the alley is.
They're just gonna make it wider.
A little wider.
State
Okay.
said you could get rid of the east and widen the alley to 30 feet.
Okay.
I've been,
State plan.
I've been talking with the group.
So it is, yeah, it is in discussion.
Yeah, they've been planning this for quite some time. We've been talking for several years about it.
Now, I didn't know if one of these, if this could have been used as an exit, or,
If it reverts back to them, they could use this, you know, the very north part of their, what will be their property as an exit into an
Okay.
alley now, but whether or not they plan to do that, I don't know at this time.
okay, thank you.
And the date would be 2 weeks from today? The date of hearing?
No, we publish it twice, so I believe it's 3 weeks, March 28th.
Okay.
This is a little different than alcohol ones. Alcohol is published once, this is published twice.
Okay.
Different date.
So we do need a motion and set the date for March 28th at or about 5:35 PM.
Please.
I move to acknowledge the petition for vacation of the alley and set the date of hearing for March 28th at 5:30?
5:35.
At 5:35 for the Kennedy's Extension / Town Proprietors First Edition.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Acknowledge the 2015 annual report. And Jen, I'll ask you to address this.
I shall. I distributed that document to you, or a very small piece of that document, I guess. Today, we will review a summary of the 49-page annual report. This document here is a synopsis of the governmental funds on a modified accrual basis, and the proprietary funds, or our enterprise funds, on a full accrual basis, with a depository breakdown. The document that you have in front of you is the document that we are required to publish, so you will see it in this format in Thursday's paper, in the Madison Daily Leader on Thursday. However, this document is broken down into much greater detail, which we'll be thoroughly reviewing in the next several weeks. It's my intent, as I have done in the past, to put the 2015 annual report on the next several weeks' worth of agendas, and we'll feed it to you in pieces. We'll go through governmental funds next week, we'll go through proprietary funds, and we'll do the statement of cash flows. So for the next 3 weeks or so, we'll be dealing with the long annual report. Okay? So, that being said, tonight's review will be very brief. Page 1 are the governmental funds. You'll see that we start with a beginning balance in each fund. We add the revenue generated in each fund throughout the year. You'll see property tax, sales tax, grants, state and county revenue, interest, rentals, and contributions, which total revenue of $6.7 million. Flip with me to page 2. Those are your expenditures. They are listed on a per department basis. They include the debt service, about halfway down the page there, totaling $6.3 million. Next, note the transfers in and out. Remembering that those transfers, gentlemen, are agreed upon during the budget process and deemed necessary to fund all funds. And the 2015 transfers netted a total of $250,340. Below that line is your increase/decrease in fund balance, which is after those transfers. You'll see we only have one negative in that line item there. As usual, it's the Community Development Fund, coming in at a negative $122,996.02. Are you with me? See that there? And that is due to the annual $26,000 transfer that we do take from the Community Development Fund and give it to the community center. Following on down there, note the total change in the fund balance for all of the governmental funds is an increase of about $635,000. The ending balance there is broken down by GASB standards, that non-spendable, restricted, committed, that's all per our GASB friends, and they take our fund balance and they break them out into those categories, which totals $9.8 million. And then that final line on that page there is the the governmental long-term debt at $3.5 million, and we're gonna talk about that more in depth in just a minute. Any questions I can answer on page 1 or 2, governmental funds, again, knowing that we're gonna get further into depth and talk about property tax and sales tax and grants and all of that stuff next week. If not, flip with me to page 3, the proprietary funds. And on this page, you're gonna see even less detail, but you'll see the beginning balance, the revenues, the expenses, the transfers, and again, the ending balances all broken down per the GASB standards, along with some long-term debt. Finally, there at the bottom of the page, you'll see a listing of cash. Now, that is cash, as opposed to fund balance. Everything else we've talked about so far are fund balances, not cash. This is a listing of the cash in each of our approved depositories that reflects a total year-end cash balance of about $16.6 million. That will jive to our year-end December 31st investment report. The final page there that I distributed separately is our schedule of changes in long-term debt. Beginning balance of long-term debt is in the first column there at $17.3 million. That, of course, jives with last year's audit. The second column there is plus new debt. And if you're saying, what new debt? We shouldn't have any new debt. What that column there is it's the changes to the accrued vacation and the accrued sick leave that we have to book, employee vacation and sick leave balances at the end of every year. Also along with our OPEB obligation. OPEB is the other post-employment benefits, and that's also thanks to our GASB friends. That is a liability that we have to book every year. And OPEB is actually a guesstimate of employee health insurance benefits. Okay? Less debt retired, that's the column we like to see, $2.38 million. That $2.38 million is all of the bond payments that we have made. Also includes additional changes to that accrued vacation and sick leave. So we added some new debt when it comes to those other long-term liabilities of sick and vacation. And then we also retired some of that debt. So that's why you see it in both columns. Ending balance of long-term debt is $15.3 million. Questions at all there?
And the majority of that would be because of,
The majority of that there, I can give you exactly what it is. If you want to start at the top there, the $1.9 million is the swimming pool debt service.
okay,
The 810 is what we have left for Lewis and Clark. Okay, the 500,000 again is the net of the vacation and OPEB, those two numbers there. So then if you skip on down to the enterprise, remembering the enterprise funds are our proprietary funds. So that $11.3 million encompasses the water revenue bond that we have for the water treatment plant, the electric generation bond, the electric distribution bond, and then also the sewer DENR payment that we have.
The water, the generator.
The water plant,
Mhm.
the electric generation, the electric distribution.
Distribution, thank
From a
you.
long time ago, before we started budgeting that $500,000
Mhm.
project every year within
Mhm.
our budget. 700 now.
I think it's
Sewer,
500.
and the other one is the sewer DENR.
Very
And then
good.
again, the 235 and the 202 are the leave accruals and then the net OPEB. The retired debt, the $2.3 million, does include that lump sum of the $705,000 that we paid way at the end of 2015. That, of course, is included in that retired debt.
It all makes sense. That's what we spend most of our money on, infrastructure, so that's where most of our debt is.
So unless you have any questions, I would ask that you acknowledge this piece of the annual report. And as I said, we're gonna feed the rest of it to you in pieces. The next 2-3 weeks, we will continue to take a section and walk through it and provide some more detail about property tax and budget and sales tax and how it has come out against the budget.
And the nice thing is with the water treatment plant up and new and ready for connection to Lewis and Clark, the last I heard, the bids will be let on the Madison section and connection in that in May, with hopefully substantial completion in December. So, all right, do we have a motion to acknowledge?
I make a motion we acknowledge the 2015 annual report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Seeing no announcements and no executive session, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.